I don't care if you're not feeling very well.
Why?
Just do it.
He won't. So heads up, chat. Right, anyone who's watching live or listening on the podcast, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give a little disclaimer before we do the normal intro.
Wow.
I'm going to drop kick you, dickhead. A little disclaimer before we do the actual intro. I'm quite unwell at the moment. I was quite unwell on Thursday and Friday. I was unwell yesterday, but managed to dose myself up and drug myself up and get to Preston and back. I'm worse today for that because it was a stupid start in the morning. So I'm going to apologise now. If I start coughing or my voice goes or I sneeze, I'm going to apologise now. I'll try and move the microphone away as always, but just going to give you that heads up right now, right? Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Saints Network podcast, your place for your weekly dose of all things Southampton Football Club. This time round, we're covering 2 games in the Championship, one at home to Ipswich Town and one away to Preston North End. We will cover the Ipswich one relatively comprehensively, I guess, because it's quite an important game. Well, Preston was probably less so, but we will cover that one as well. It is important. We'll have a look ahead at the playoffs. We are now definitely in, unlike Wrexham. And we'll look at what's happened in the wider Football League as well. Also, if you're a Villa fan, can you sort your life out, right? Everyone wants to see Tottenham get relegated, and Tottenham are currently beating you 2-0, and that's pathetic. Right, good. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash all those magical YouTube buttons for us. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the bell notification icon if you want to be notified when we go live in the future. If you want to support the podcast financially, there's a few ways you can do that. If you look in chat, some people have got green names. You can become a member of the channel, at which point you go press a little $sign, pick a membership tier, probably the highest, why not? And then you get to be a monthly recurring member. That helps us. If you're already a member, or maybe you don't want to be a member but you want to give other people the opportunity to come in the secret spaces in Discord, you can gift memberships via YouTube's little $sign button, or you can do what Moss has just done, and you can send a super chat. YouTube calls them super chats, we hate it, otherwise known as postcards on this show, because it's big and colourful, and you pay money to send it to people, and you write stuff on it. Postcard, right? Why YouTube didn't call them postcards, I don't know. I should be head of YouTube marketing. Thank you, Moss Head, for the $5. Emergency Lemsip Fund required. I am not in a good way, and he just made me do that whole intro.
Chat have to pay for me to do intro. I'm
Anyway.
not regular, it's fine. I don't like doing it.
Anyway, we start with, obviously, we sat last Sunday talking about post-Wembley FA Cup sort of blues because Man City. We did say that if we were going to go out, that's probably the way to do it against what was arguably the best team in the country right now.
Not anymore. Arsenal top now.
Yeah, at the time, at least. And it wasn't a battering. We made a good account for ourselves. We actually went ahead. I think that was the best way, and it would have least impacted players' mindset going into Tuesday. Tuesday, we were at home to Ipswich. And it was quite an important game, actually, which we covered last week, right? Because if we'd have beaten Ipswich, the race for second place was still on. It wasn't an impossibility at that point, and you can look at yesterday's results and go, wouldn't have mattered. But actually, you know, who says last week's results go? This last weekend's results go that way if we beat Ipswich on Tuesday. You never know in football. So it was quite an important game. It was an interesting lineup.
It was, yeah, I think it was. It was a post. He put out a fairly strong team. It was a team. It was a game, like you said. If we wanted to put the pressure on Ipswich, Millwall, and Middlesbrough to that point, we needed to win.
Yeah.
And we need to, if we wanted to take it into the last day of the season, we needed to win. Although obviously we still had something to fight for yesterday, which we'll cover in a bit. But yeah, no, he put out a fairly strong lineup. He went for the normal back four, obviously with Jack Stevens being injured. He had Shea Charles and Caspiander, and then the front four, obviously with Carl Laren up front as expected. And I think that we all said that potentially we were worried about a Wembley hangover, and I think, to be fair, in the first half, we kind of got it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
I think the only person who made himself look any good in the first half was probably the referee.
Made himself look any good? Let's we pause on that one for a minute. Made himself look any good?
Made himself look any good was the referee. Made himself centre of attention.
Right. Okay, so he made himself centre of attention.
That's where I was going with it.
There's nothing good about his performance.
He turned up,
if the
didn't
rhetoric online is to be believed at the moment, it's that the Football League really want Ipswich to be promoted, and they were giving them all sorts of Buckshee penalties and all kinds of stuff. I don't know how much I believe that. I think often when teams face a team that has that kind of narrative around them, it becomes very easy to blame that narrative as to why you lost or maybe why they got given a penalty or whatever. But I mean, they have had a disproportionate number of penalties, to be fair, and they have had some pretty favourable decisions, right? The referee on Tuesday was quite frankly an embarrassment to professional refereeing.
I'm just going to let you talk because they're ready.
He was an utter embarrassment to professional referee. He showed an obvious bias towards Ipswich. He was blowing for fouls that we were committing when they were doing twice as bad. And I don't know if I've seen a refereeing performance that bad all season. I think it's the worst one I've seen all season. If I'm honest.
Interestingly, though, when you look at the stats, Ipswich committed twice as many fouls as we did.
Right. Well, he should have blown up 4 times as many times, shouldn't he?
No, I'm in agreement. Look, I think that I don't normally get angry at referees because I'm quite accepting of them making mistakes, etc. But I was, and obviously, especially as we got into the second half as well, I was getting irate at him because he was just given. I don't even know what he was doing, to be fair. And I think that we've started off the season seeing some really, really bad refereeing performances, and I watched the detail back on Sky afterwards, and I think I've just seen Alan's point now, and it's right. You'd have forgotten that Southampton were even playing in that game. It was just Ipswich, fine, whatever. And obviously Ipswich had to win, realistically, because if they'd have won, well, they didn't now, but if they'd have won...
Do you think Ipswich gets this level of attention if Ed Sheeran isn't the person who owns them? It's a genuine question, right?
That's an interesting one, isn't it? I hadn't thought of that.
Because they never used to have this much attention.
I think that if you're going to put your tinfoil hat on, that's me putting it on, by the way. I think that
there's steam train.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that you could ask around them. I've seen a lot of their games in the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks. There are a lot of decisions that have gone their way. They've had a lot of things that have been useful to them. I just think that there's the media around it. Yeah, the media around Ed Sheeran, the media around Ipswich. Potentially. There's also a conspiracy theory out there. Again, we're tinfoil hat on. Around the Premier League not wanting Millwall to be in the Premier League.
It doesn't massively surprise me if that's true.
So if you're going to believe that narrative, then you potentially would love there to be, or you would believe there to be some sort of rhetoric around Ipswich getting decisions and stuff so they could stay ahead of the game. Because let's be honest, had we have, I don't know, beaten Ipswich in one of the games that we played in this season, Millwall would be Premier League right now.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting, isn't it? Again, if Ipswich won the game on Tuesday against us, they would have been guaranteed promotion then as well.
They wouldn't. Well, they wouldn't have been guaranteed it exactly, but 18 goal swing.
Yeah, right. So nearest fuck it is to swear, they'd have been promoted.
Yeah,
and they did go ahead. Wes Byrne gets a goal, which was it a good goal?
It's shocking. Look, I think there's
Tom. So let's talk about. I want to talk about Tom Fellows a little bit, right? This is relevant for both yesterday and the day before. The game before, sorry.
Right.
I was quite a Tom Fellows fan. I'm starting to think that Tom Fellows is all fart, no shit.
No, I disagree.
How many goals he got this season?
None.
He's got some assists.
But 8.
It's not good for a winger. He's played most games.
I have theories on him. I can go into it now if you want me to.
Yeah, let's talk about because the reason why I'm bringing up Tom Fellows is because this goal starts with Tom Fellows running backwards towards his own goal and losing the ball again. Which is actually quite a common thing that happens.
It happened a few times yesterday.
There was a beautiful little lobbed ball that gets played over at that point. I think Taylor misses the header. Wood then goes fucking charging across the fucking 18-yard box and misses the challenge. And then there's an Ipswich player there going, cool, thanks, I'll have a shot here.
Who smashes it straight at Daniel Peretz and it goes anyway.
Yeah, it was a weak goal to concede all round, but it starts because Fellows picks up the ball on that left wing, starts running back towards his own goal and loses possession.
So I'm going to come completely away from the game for the moment. I'm going to go on out a little tangent, and I'll be interested to see what chat thinks about this. I don't know if you've seen it, but in midweek, Will Steele interview was released with Will Steele, who did.
Oh my God! Right,
over.
that prick. Right, he's back again, doing another interview after not having another job.
Hang on.
Right. Well, the thing is, right, when that fucking ginger cunt who speaks perfectly good English sits on everyone's going, oh, the Will Steele podcast is really interesting. Like, it isn't, right? It isn't. The second he sits there in perfect English, goes, yeah, one of the main reasons why I think I struggled at Southampton was because of the language barrier. Right? Because it's not my fucking native tongue. Listen to how he's talking. It's basically his native tongue, right? I know he's English anyway, the fucker, right? I know he reckons his first language is French, right? But he speaks perfectly fluent English. And he says, yeah, language barrier. Fuck off, dickhead. Tonda, who isn't even from this fucking country, it sounds like English is his fourth language, right? And he's got to tune out the same group of players.
Well, that's us cancelled. Anyway,
am I wrong?
The reason, actually, I found it very interesting, but I'm not going to go into that now because clearly I've touched a nerve.
Language barrier from a man who speaks fluent English in the English Championship on the South Coast. It's not like he's in Middlesbrough, is it? Trying to understand them. Language barrier.
See,
what a wanker!
Our viewing numbers are going to go down. No one's seen it. We've only got 22 likes at the moment. They're not even liking your end.
I mean, what a wanker. Honestly.
Hit the like button for me, not for him. Seriously. Awkward. Anyway, the reason why I brought Will Still up, regretting it now, fucking hell. The reason why I brought Will Still up was purely and simply because I think that obviously when Fellows signs, and I think Fellows has been off the ball recently, but I think he was ruined by being played at right back so long. I should have just said that without Will Steele.
But then again, when Tonda took over, he played him at right wing back to start with because he was originally playing the 5-4-1 formation or whatever it was. And he was pretty attacking at that point. In fact, both wing backs just got a new lease of life under Tonda Eckhart. And I would suggest that Fellows had some of his most attacking football at right wing back when Eckhart took over. But what's happened is his confidence has started slowly dropping off a cliff, and then it's really dropped off a cliff. And so he's gone from beating a multitude of players and maybe having a shot here and there that are quite. And he nearly got a goal against Preston yesterday, just wide. But that's playing Preston. When we're playing the top teams, he sort of goes missing a bit. He doesn't really do anything. He's got all this pace. He's fast. And how often... And the thing is, when you see him hit that byline and put a little bouncy crossover into like a Ross Stewart or a Carl Larin, we all think there's a chance nowadays because those two are banging goals.
We did it against Bristol City and we scored.
Right.
Did it yesterday at the bar.
But and what he does is he goes, run, stand up a player. I'm not going to try and beat you to the byline, despite the fact I know I probably can. I'll go backwards. And he's the only one now, that hangover, that sideways and backwards everywhere we go nonsense, the only one really still doing that kind of is him. He's the only one who runs forward, oh no, I'll run backwards again. And you get net positive. If it was American football, it'd be 4th and 10 still, the way he plays.
I don't understand what that means. If I'm honest, look, I like Tom Fellows as a player. I think he's brilliant. But I think his confidence has been shot. And I know that what you're saying, Tonda played him, and then obviously we went to the back four, and then he got dropped a bit, and then Madsky come in. He's a player like Finn Azaz, and he's play and play and play, play and play and play and play and play. So I think that he will come good. The problem is that this season it's just been a bit of a damp one. The interesting point will be is that when we sit here next week or in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, and we talk about potentially either being a Premier League team or going into the Championship next season. If we go into the Championship next season, Tom Fellows is going to be a massive player. If we go into the Premier League next season, Tom Fellows is going to be a squad player.
How's he going to be a massive player?
I think he will be
when he's added 8 assists and no goals to us this season.
I think he'll be a massive player for us next year.
Fucking Taylor Arbella's got 7 goals.
He has, yeah.
I don't know. I think he's going to be a more important player for us in the Championship than he is in the Premier League. At the moment, honestly, I'd rather play Madsky.
No, right. So that's the point, right? Madsky does the simple stuff very, very well, pops up and gets a goal every now and then. Do I think Tom Fellows has had a fantastic season? No. Do I think he's had an awful season? No. Do I think he's been inconsistent? Obviously, yes.
Yeah. But he gives the ball away.
He gives the ball. So it comes from hit, right? It comes. It's an awful time for him to give the ball away because he's quite weak on the ball when he does that. Taylor Hard-Bellis loses the header. Wood has got lead in his fucking boots and just stands there and watches it.
No, he darts across, doesn't it? It's kind of weird what he does. He leaves his man, and then the ball ends up at his man.
It comes out to Wes Burns, and I was tongue in cheek when I said it is hit straight at Perez, but he's hit it like a fucking rocket. I mean, you were still downstairs at this point, weren't you?
No, I was on the stairs.
Okay.
I watched it go in.
Yeah, so it hit the back of the net, and you think to yourself, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Ipswich erupt, obviously. And then actually, we did something that, at the start of the season and last season specifically, you would have considered was quite impossible, but we've done it a fair amount more under Tonda. And we start playing football again, and we go, oh shit! Actually, we don't really want to lose this. That's a bad thing for us to lose this game. So we get a leveller.
Well, we do, right? And before we fucking talk about the actual free kick, this is where my rant about the referee's going to come in. How the fuck was Greaves not sent off? I've watched it again and again.
It wasn't a nice challenge,
and again.
Was it?
His studs are up. He's off the ground. He's not in fucking control. Azaz goes fucking catapulting. And the referee looks at it, takes his time, and gives a yellow card. Now, I know he's on TV and he's trying all that stuff. Not given a red card in that situation was absolutely, it's horrendous call.
Yeah,
and Sky, they're like, I think that's the right call. Are you fucking joking?
I called for a red card in the stadium.
Yeah, but you do it every challenge.
Then I sort of shut up because I realised if someone sneezes on Cienza, I call for a red card. And don't you make him sick? And I was like, maybe, I don't know, I need to see the replay. I watched the replay and I was like, oh, fucking hell, that's actually quite a challenge.
You could see it, and obviously it was right in front of us. It's literally right in front of where we sat.
Yeah, I should. At the time, I thought it was red. Then I always go, take stock a bit, Liam, because you might be being a bit excited here. And then when I watched it back on social media afterwards, I was like, no, that's a red card. The ref's bottled that.
He bottled
Without
it.
doubt, he's bottled
Completely bottled it. In front of the Sky cameras, and he's gone, oh, no, I'm not worried about it. Having said that, thankfully, Christian Walton in the goal is shit. And whoever their number 5 was, I'm going to butcher it. Matasiwa.
Let's say yes.
Decided to leave a trailing leg, and Manning hits it, and I think he just hit it hard and low.
Just powered it
Yeah, and he's taken. I think it's taken 2 deflections or at least 1. Walton's already gone, which is odd goalkeeping anyway, and obviously it's a net. 1-1, game on.
Yeah,
fuck off. Happy days. Let's crack on. But to be fair, at that point, and for the rest of the game was really, really open. Like if you're just a neutral watching Championship football, watching the game on Tuesday night, brilliant.
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
Entertaining.
But I thought that for the majority of the game, up until the 80th minute, I thought Ipswich had the better of the ball. They were moving the ball better. They played with more intent. We had a few chances, nothing really worth mentioning. There was a couple of half chances here and there.
Well, we looked leggy, didn't we?
We did look leggy, which is
understandable.
Which then leads us to the second goal, because about 5 minutes or so beforehand, Lauren went down injured, and we were screaming to get him off.
Ash was like, "You got to get him off! You got to get him off!" And then Manning plays this weird cross-field through ball thing.
Yeah,
it is. Lauren, I'll be honest with you, for a big guy, right? What I'm loving about Kyle Lauren at the moment, because I'm going to be honest with you, he's my favourite forward. We've got him, Archer, Ross Stewart. It's not an amuse-bouche of fucking Waitrose-based strikers, is it?
No, it's from Morrison's, mate. Morrison's
we've got a
expensive.
Waitrose there and a couple of fucking Audis in the mix, right? Aldi, sorry. And Kyle Lauren is my favourite out of all of them. I think Ross Stewart's a bit of a donkey, but he scores goals at least. Considering the story around Lauren when we signed him, about him being the next Damien Downs, and here's all of his blooper tapes, this is how many chances he misses. Since he settled, I actually wonder, genuinely, and I'd love to know what chat think about this actually at the same time, and you for that matter, but I wonder if he actually could do a job in the Premier League.
Oh, 100%.
For the football club.
Yeah, of course he could.
I think Stewart struggles in the Premier League, especially because of his physicality. I think Archer struggles in fucking National League Division 1. And I think Lauren is really solid. I think he's a big bully, he's a big presence. And what I've seen on a couple of occasions, and I saw it with this particular goal as well, right, is that through ball, that touch he took for a big man is quite impressive. To bring that ball under control, whilst running forward the way he did, as fucked as he was, that ball that Manning played him, I think it's quite impressive. Then he fucking Torval and Deans it on the spot, right? A little bit of magic dancing,
Yeah.
pulls the ball out from behind him, and then with his right foot lifts it over the goalkeeper.
Well, again, Christian Watt was on the floor before he could play it. Look, Henry just put it in there. Evening, guys. Evening, Matt. Thanks for doing this. No one has got more championship goals since joining Southampton than apart from Zamba Potnik than Laren. Zamba Potnik obviously been a championship goal scorer.
Do you think like if Laren had started the season with us, the way that he's been playing, do you think he'd be a 20-goal man?
No.
No? Why?
I think, well, there's a bit there, right? If Laren had started the season and we're playing 4 at the back and we're playing the system that we're playing now, yes, I think he's a 20 goals
yes.
championship.
Okay, yeah, fair, reasonable. Okay.
But then at the same time, I think there's a point here, right? There's a point here of when you look at it, you say if Laren would have started in the system that Will Steele was playing, would he have had more success? Of course he would, because Adam Armstrong was a fucking midget playing up front. So of course Laren would have had more success. I'm going to go back to it. Calm. In the Will Steele interview, Will Steele says
that he did in English.
That he did in English, even though it's a language barrier. Will Steele says at the time that he felt that he didn't have a lot of luck because he was trying to prove an identity of weight. You've got to listen to it. It's only about a 15-minute segment on Southampton. He was trying to get a certain identity of football, but he didn't have a lot of luck because Flynn Downs, for example, kept on eating raw chicken, and he referenced Ross Stewart getting injured at Derby because they were starting to get an identity of a way that they wanted to play football. But he didn't want to play long football, but I don't know. We'll just ignore that. It's by the by. Laren takes his goal superbly well on Tuesday.
Yeah.
There's a video which is taken from the chapel stand which shows him scoring it in the limbs and the Northern Men, which is absolutely fantastic. The one thing I will say, which I think was a bit stupid, and if anyone was hit, I wonder if anyone's going to own up to it. Saints fans then started singing, we're going up. We are going up. Why? It wasn't in our hands anyway. Well, so if the result, even if we won on Tuesday and the results were the same that yesterday, we still wouldn't have gone up. But
he's so negative, isn't he?
But we scored. He takes Laren off. He brings Stewart on. Stewart doesn't hold the ball up as well as Laren. He only made 2 changes on Tuesday.
Yeah, he
which
did.
Which was very odd.
It was strange. I'd argue that to some degree he lost us the points there because we looked fucking knackered.
And then Ipswich brought on, well, they'd already brought Jack Clark on, etc. And they just started playing through us. And actually, the goal comes from, it's a ball forward that's lost. And Darnell Furlong gets forward. He crosses the ball over. There's a bit of a in the pinball machine in the box. And it falls. And to be fair to Jack Clark, it's a beautiful finish. And then you think to yourself, and that's 3 minutes towards the end. And you think, okay, fine. I think kind of at that point, Tonda's not an idiot. I don't think Tonda's an idiot. I think he probably realised then, right, that's us done. We ain't winning this game. That's us done, because if it wasn't for Peretz making an absolute phenomenal save.
Hell of a save at the end.
In the last minute.
97th minute?
Yeah, then Ipswich win that game and we're not finishing 4th.
But we go back to that prick referee as well, right? And when we were 2-1 up, he was hurrying us along to take any kind of set piece, right? And then the second Ipswich go 2-2, he stops that. Stops hurrying us along then. Stops hurrying them along, even, I should say.
Yeah, look, it's
fucking... Anyway.
The stupid thing is that we said 2 weeks ago that we were going to go into effectively 7 days that define our season. It's not necessarily going to define our season right now. But had we not have dropped points against Bristol City and we not have dropped points against Ipswich, then we'd be sat here right now going, we're in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we dropped points against Bristol City because effectively we played a weakened side because we're worried about the cup game. We done with leggy against Ipswich because of the cup game. I'm not saying it would have changed the result. I'm not saying we would have won. Just saying, obviously, if buts and maybes is the way football works. But naturally, Coventry fans warned us about this. That FA Cup tie has had an effect on us. Having said that, again, you could look back to the Will Steele period. You could look back to Christmas. We'd won just one of those games when we were shit. We'd be in the Premier League right now. So,
but like you say, football's full of if, buts, ands, and maybes. You don't know if during that, if that period had been different, maybe the rest of the season wasn't different. Importantly, okay, we dropped points at both. Right. Importantly, we didn't lose either.
We didn't lose, and I think there's a point there that we came away from the goal. We came away from the game. I think that realistically, we had to look at a point where for Southampton to get second, we would have had to have won a stupid amount of games in a row, which is very unrealistic at any level, let alone even the Championship. And I think that we came away on Tuesday not really pissed off, more sort of okay.
Let me put it this way.
Now
right?
it's playoffs.
And I put this in the video description. It'll be the show notes on the podcast as part of the description for the show. But let me put it this way.
They don't like it. They're not even hitting the like button.
Let me put it this way. They never hit the like button. Leave them alone. Half of them turn up tonight because no one cares anymore, apparently. Right? Let me put it this way, Ash. Okay? Start of November, considering what had been happening at the football club, someone says to you, you can finish 4th. Right? Do you take it?
If I'd have watched my favourite podcast and one of my favourite podcasters would have suggested that Southampton were going to finish 4th, I would have kept faith and believed in him. Because he clearly knows what he's talking about.
So at the start of November, considering what had happened and where we were, and Tonda took over, 21st in the league, someone would have said to you, you're going to finish 4th. What would you have said to him?
I'd have fucking laughed at you.
Right. So here's my point. So a lot of people go, oh, we fucked it. We could have points against Bristol City, because considering where we were and the run we've been on, right? If you just said to me at the start of November, and Ash, evidently, you'll finish 4th, I'd have been like, fuck off. We'd be fighting for 6th at best. At best. And I don't think that was at that point. I started the season so like full of promise and full of hope. And I'd said we would finish 2nd or 3rd. I can't remember what I said.
3rd.
Okay, right. And I was really fucking like, I'm going to be conservative and say 3rd, right? I was so positive, and we had a terrible start to the season. So much so, like I say, start of November, someone says to me, you're going to finish 4th. I'd have gone, not a chance. I'm laughing you out of the room, you fucking moron, right? And we have finished 4th. So although dropping points against Ipswich was hard to take, and I thought
I don't think it was hard to take.
When Laren scored, when he scored that goal that he scored, I thought, fuck me, we've won the game. I genuinely thought they've got nothing else here. What's going to happen?
I think that it was, like I said, when we came away from that game, we said, Ian's obviously just made a comment. He's right. It's been a great season.
It's been a fun season.
It's been fun. I think that there was an understanding from most fans coming out of that ground, going, right, okay, fine. Well, we knew 2nd was a stretch, and we said it quite a few times. We're like, we could do it, we might not, we could do it, blah blah blah. But everyone came away from the game on Tuesday going, right, playoffs. Then the conversations happened. It happened that night in our Discord. Guys, if you're not in it, it's free to download. Get in the Discord server. We talk football. Liam even pops in there every now and then and talks about sucking off a horse and me beating up my wife. It's hilarious. But
actually happened.
We straight away went into the Discord and people were like, right, okay, so what are we doing for Preston? Are we playing a weak team? Are we playing a strong team? Which one are we going?
Well, and he actually played a strong team. I thought he played a strong team.
He played a strong-ish team. He didn't go very strong. Obviously, we're now Kurt railing against Preston. He played a strong-ish team. He made some changes, which I think some of them were surprising, some of them weren't, and some people coming in were fine, different.
He dropped James Bree and plays Charles at right back. I actually didn't think he had a terrible game at right back. It's Nathan Wood and Taylor Howard-Bellis again, because Jack Stevens, I assume, is still carrying a knock of some sort. And he brings Beef in at left back, plays Wellington, right? He then plays Casper Yander, Cam Bragg in midfield. Cole, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Flynn's still out with a suspension, obviously. And then he plays Fellows, Cienza, Archer, and
Loch Ness Drogba.
And Stewart, right? Which is not... The thing is, maybe this is an exercise we do later, but it's not a weak team. Is it our strongest team? I don't know. But they're all strong players. I think most of those aren't players that you would ever question being in a starting side, with the exception perhaps of Cam Archer. But he has had some decent performances in recent games. And obviously he got some important goals as well. So, I don't personally rate him, but he can play a part in this league. At least he's proving, or has proved on occasion. Now he's kind of got over his spell of being a complete fucking donkey. So I was like, looked at it, I was like, okay, he's gone to win the game. He's 100% gone to win the game.
I think it got to a point where he had given such a narrative in midweek about how important it was to, firstly, keep momentum. Secondly, it was important, right? Because whilst we're still on this unbeaten league streak, which is 19 league games, I think now, it was important to do because you don't want to go into the playoffs on a loss. And also, we hadn't won in 3 games.
Yeah.
So we played awful against Bristol City and got a point. We'd worked our socks off at Wembley, let's be honest. We'd worked our fucking socks off. We then did well. I think we did well to take Ipswich as late as we did on Tuesday, considering we were knackered.
Yeah.
So he's made some... James Bree hasn't had a rest since he's come back. He came back in, was thrown in against Pompey, hasn't had a rest. He had a bit of a rest against Leicester in the Cup, still came on and scored. playing Wellington at left back, I think again was just giving Ryan Manning a rest. I actually thought that apart from the aerial side of things, because he's always been in the air, apart from the aerial side of things, Wellington played really well. Apart from the aerial side of things,
well, and they targeted him quite early on. I pointed it out very early on in the game. They were long balling to Wellington's head all the time.
Of course they were.
So they knew he wasn't good in the air.
And so then, obviously, Cameron Bragg coming in, and Casper Yander at the moment is just superhuman. If he doesn't start on Saturday, I don't know what's gone wrong. And Cam Bragg, I thought Cam Bragg was superb yesterday as well. The thing that Cam Bragg does, it's amazing. A year ago, he was rejected by a League Two club on loan, potentially looking at moving clubs and being sold. Eckert then, Will still didn't want to know him. Eckert then comes in, having known him playing for the under-21s, and puts him into the starting lineup. And now suddenly I'm sat here thinking, well, I know Flynn Downs is back, but I potentially would start him on Saturday.
I would start Flynn and Yander together.
We'll get on to that in a bit. But
yeah, of course.
Tonda had done a narrative about how important it was that we went into the playoffs on the win, and we also knew that if Middlesbrough didn't win and we won, we would go into fourth, which obviously meant that we would then be away to Middlesbrough first, and we would have the home leg second, which 6, 7. I don't know why I did that. That was embarrassing. Sorry, chap.
I don't know if that's. Do you think that's stronger?
Of course it is.
Is it?
No, because you don't fuck the first leg.
Because if you have the first leg at home, we'll quickly talk about Preston in a minute. But if you have the first leg at home and you win it 3-0 because you're at home, it takes the pressure off a little bit going away from home.
But if you get a decent result from the first leg, a draw or small win, and they come and then they attack you, and you get penalties, and you're doing it from your own fans.
Okay. Well,
and if you've got extra time and the players are down their luck, and you've got your fans, hey, come on.
So play Preston. I'm gonna. This isn't to do with the side. I've known a couple of Preston fans in my past, specifically in my military days, right? Very proud football fans, those two lads were that I knew who are Preston fans. And obviously Preston has a significant amount of history as a football club.
They do.
Right? Significant amount of history, right? Their support yesterday was fucking shocking. It was worse than City's. It was fucking disgraceful.
They also had nothing to play for, though.
Yeah, I know they had nothing to play for, but it was a half-empty stadium, if that, and it can only hold about 12 people. Right? It's a half-empty stadium. They didn't know how to sing a football song, apparently, because they just flat didn't until they scored a goal and they woke up for about 3 minutes, right? And even then, that goal was fucking gifted to them. And at the end, the commentator kept saying throughout the game, please hang around at the end. We're going to do the player awards, etc., etc. Everyone fucked off. Utterly disgusting from their support. Shockingly bad. Like, if you want your players to care about your club, you should also care about your club. Fucking vile. In fact, they walk around with some youth cup and they walk around with some fucking monkey tennis cup, and they got more support from the Saints end than they got from their own fans.
It was also nice seeing a lot of the Preston fans have come out and said, and the players have come out and said actually, at the end of the game when they were doing their walk around, they were quite impressed with the Saints fans at the away end when a couple of the kids were scoring goals and all that sort of stuff.
We're cheering them. Yeah.
But then that, to be fair, that happened at a few places yesterday. It's always good to see that sort of stuff.
It was real bad as support. Like we had the whole end. We had 5,000. Well, we did. Here's the
5,500.
Here's the other criticism I'm going to have as well, right? This is a Saints fans criticism, and I don't like criticising us or our own fans, but I'm going to here. Preston end was 5,500.
Yeah, it was 5,500. Yeah,
5,500, but it wasn't. We didn't sell 50, 60 tickets.
Yeah,
right, something like that, which is as close as fuck it is to swearing. It's a sellout.
The second time you used that phrase tonight.
What?
Second time you used that phrase.
Yeah, it's a sellout, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that if you look at that end, it wasn't, because the amount of people that didn't go because who gives a fuck now we can't finish second. That's pretty vile. And the worst part about it was, here's the worst part about it, right? Is the club said that for anybody who had X number of away games, who was one of the first 200 people to get a ticket for Preston, we'd give you free travel, okay? And a bunch of people claimed it because they could have free travel. And then they didn't fucking turn up. Which meant that some fucker had to pay for their travel, while some other dickhead, I can't bother, doesn't mean anything now, took a free travel spot. It's pretty fucking disgusting. And I think the club should do something about that in the future to stop that from being able to be a thing. Because I'd imagine the person's gone, I'll try and sell me a ticket on the ticket exchange or whatever, or else, because it's a fucking physical ticket.
Yeah.
Sell it off, and I'll lose travel, who cares? right? It honestly, that really enrages me. And we are definitely going into the fucking playoffs. We know that at this point. So get behind the lads. It wasn't that bad. I was not happy about getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning with this fucking head
Fuck
cold.
me, you won't stop going on about it.
And it's a
You didn't drive.
It's a 4.5 hour drive all the way up there. There's loads of things that are exciting about the drive, like seeing referees, and it wasn't that bad a journey. It's not like it's Middlesbrough. Like Middlesbrough, I was like, fuck this, that's disgusting. I have to get up at 3 to go to Middlesbrough. Don't fancy it. Then I saw that you have to have 94 away games in the last 3 weeks if you want to get a ticket. But I just think that Preston is not that hard a ground to get to. What a fun way to end the season after what was a torrid start to the season and a terrible season last season. To take a free ticket to travel that you mean someone else can't have it and then not use it, you're a wanker.
Agreed.
Simple as that. And you can try and argue. Like there'll be the odd person that was like, I'm sorry, but my fucking son got hit by a truck. Cool, okay, that's fair. But there was a lot of people that didn't use it, and not everyone's sons got hit by a truck. Bankers. Right. On to the game, right? On to the game.
It was an exciting drive, that's all that matters, right? I mean, I was definitely not tired driving up, and I was definitely not tired
We'd
driving
already
back.
had a couple of chances, I think, before we scored the first goal. They did kind of recognise that Wellington's not that good in the air, and they were putting balls on him all the time. He clearly was identified as the weak link, and we know that Leo doesn't do a ton of defensive work either, so that was why they were trying to have some joy. We also had a couple of good opportunities, some close call headers, etc. Well, we thought we scored.
The bar. Yeah.
And then we got the opening goal, and it was our man who scored more than Tom Fellowes, Taylor Howard-Bellis, who beautiful ball in from Wellington. Wellington beats his man, keeps the ball in on the wing, hits the byline, and we've said this for ages, and it fucking frustrates me when I watch people like Fellowes, sometimes even Cienza. It really fucking annoys me that we don't do this more. Wellington hit the byline and put a cross in. Magic. Who knew that was a footballing tactic? And Taylor Howard-Bellis with a fucking stunning header, by the way.
It was a great header.
It was a really good header to score that goal. Saints 1-0 up, cool, everyone's happy, right? It's a bit of a nothing game. Is that fair? I think it's a bit of a nothing game, really.
Disagree.
Really?
Well, no. Right.
It wasn't really full of excitement. And
You mean the actual game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we played really well for 25 minutes. Obviously, Stuart at the top of the bar. We scored. Fellas had a chance that went wide. There was another chance. Obviously, just after we scored, Ross Stewart charged the keeper down. That nearly went in. And then sort of 25 minutes in, we kind of just took our foot off the gas and allowed Preston to come into it. And they'd, like you said, they'd identified Wellington had been a weak link. They had a header that went wide from a corner. They had a header which Perez saved. They had another corner chance which left to like 2 or 3 point blank saves from Perez. And
if their fucking strikers and their footballers in general weren't wearing fucking 50p's for boots, they might have actually scored a couple.
There was a bit around it, but I think we took our foot off the gas. I think we allowed them to have a lot of free headers, etc. But that's why Preston were in the playoffs and they're now not. So
yeah,
we got in at half time, and do you know what? We got in at half time. The game wasn't. A Preston fan, I know a Preston fan who I was talking to on today after the game yesterday. He said to me, your fans really loud first half, but they want anything second half. I was like, well, the game was kind of a bit boring, really. It wasn't massively exciting and fantastic. There wasn't a lot going on.
I'm going to be honest with you, the football that I watched them play legitimately had me surprised that they were even 12th at the time. I think they finished 13th, didn't they, after we beat them? Is that right? I think they finished 13th.
14th, I think.
And with what we watched yesterday, and I'm aware that for them specifically, it's a dead rubber. They don't give a shit at that point. They literally couldn't care less. It doesn't make any difference to their season at all. Maybe a couple of extra quid in the bank if they finish a place higher, right? Mm-hmm. But if that's the way they've been performing, then 14th probably flatters them. To be honest with you, it just and some of the football was just poor. It was just poor.
They had about a 15-minute spell at the end of the first half where I thought they were moving the ball around quite nicely, and Henry's just pointing out there. I said to you yesterday, I said that when they came down here, they looked good. They had Harrison Armstrong in their midfield. He was driving them forward. He was a big force, and I think that we went into half time and we were 1-0 up. It was like, okay, well, this is almost job done. It was almost like, look, just we're done. And then we came out for the second half, and I thought potentially they would come out in the second half and potentially give it a go. And I said to Dad in the stands, he'll confirm this, he's not going to say it in the chat because he's done it once, that's been done for a year now. But I said to him, this game has got early second half goal for us written all over it. And we got it. And it came from the typical things. We had a lot of success down the wings. And I can't remember, I think it was Cameron Archer actually down the wing. He puts it in. I think it was Archer. Yeah, he puts it in. And Ross Stewart does like fucking, I don't know what he's doing. He's doing like the can on the edge of the box. And they just sort of stood there watching him.
I don't know what I watched there.
Shifts it onto his left foot and slides it into the bottom corner.
Shifts onto his left foot. Well, I don't know what he was doing there. I don't know how the ball stayed near his feet. I'm not entirely sure what happened for that goal. Or how it was scored. It was a really, I think if you're a Preston fan, it's a really poor goal to concede.
I think that's
really poor goal to concede.
The defending for that goal is very much simply best described as on the beach.
Yes, absolutely.
On the beach.
100%.
Having said that, we thought we were on the beach. And then obviously we got a corner and we got another break and it came forward and Shay Charles had a little shot that was going in the bottom corner, and their keeper, because obviously they changed their keepers at half time, because why not give a keeper minutes? That's how much on the beat to her.
But the keeper for the second half, I thought, was probably better than the first half.
Yeah,
keeper.
So David Cornell gets up with a bit of intent. He picks the ball up, he pumps it forward, it goes over everyone's head.
It's a beautiful pass.
Lewis Dobbin is bearing down on it. Daniel Pretz comes back, you think, he's just going to head it away. And then he slips.
Yeah. He forgot his studs, left them at home.
And then suddenly, I think it's probably fair to say that the problem is there was one chance after they scored.
Well, yeah, so Daniel Pretz does slip, obviously. There's a couple of players trying to run back for it, but Preston goes through on goal and score. And that was the first time I realised I had any fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from the old guy that was booing when the players were getting off the coach when we got there.
What a dickhead.
What a weirdo he was.
What a dickhead he was, yeah. Anyway, they were loud for about 3 minutes, and then they went quiet again.
And then the game kind of fizzled out again, and then we made a load of changes. We brought on Azaz and Larin. We brought on Azaz, Larin, Jamesbury. We brought on a Dozy. We brought on Manning, and kind of it just. Do you know what? The situation. Peretz held his hand up. It's unlucky. It does happen. It's not the end of the world.
I'm gonna touch on the Peretz thing quickly as well, because I saw some stuff on social media about the Peretz mistake. And what I saw was the fucking Bazunu fanboys coming out. I don't still to this day understand how he's got fanboys going, if Gavin Bazunu would have made that mistake, you'd all be slaughtering him. I'm like, yeah, we would, because he does it weekly. That's the problem. If Gavin Bazunu had made a quarter of the saves that Peretz has made in the last fucking 6 months, we probably wouldn't have shipped him off on loan, would we? I don't think you can't look at that. The reason why most Saints fans are looking at that Peretz slip and going, yeah, okay, it's a mistake, it happens, is because 1, it's a mistake and he slipped up. 2, he doesn't make many of them. 3, he does saves like that last one against Ipswich that kept us in the game for a point, which other people just don't. Like, earlier in the game, Peretz had made a couple of incredible saves against Preston.
Yeah.
And ultimately, and I know hindsight's always 20/20, I get that, but ultimately the mistake that he made here didn't actually impact the result. So it's not like he's slipped and we've then lost the game because of it. Sometimes I think people, especially on Twitter, they need to give their fucking head a wobble, honestly.
Look, he makes it, Dobbin runs through, I think it's Dobbin, he runs through and scores. Fine, whatever. The game kind of dies down a bit. They make a little bit of a huff and puff attempts. Yeah. But then obviously the Brampton Bagsman, fuck, I got that wrong, didn't I? Pops up at the near post at the end. I thought Dozy just walloped it, and he has walloped it, and Larin just knocks it in. 3-1, job done.
Good goal, good finish.
Good goal, good finish, job done.
Fourth
next.
Yeah, well, we know Middlesbrough dropped points. So they ended up at 2-2 draw at Wrexham, which is sad for Wrexham as well, because that ended up meaning that they basically didn't make playoffs.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
We will talk about that in a minute. But that means Saints finished fourth.
Stay tuned, Gartsy.
And then we probably cheered their fucking players more than they did. Did you do members' polls at all this week?
I didn't do a members' poll to a degree. I didn't do one yesterday, obviously, because we were driving down. I was driving back, and I don't drive illegally.
Lies.
How do I drive illegally?
I'm not going to say it online and incriminate you, am I? But you're lying.
I don't drive illegally.
Liar.
I was perfectly safe on the way home last night. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Liar.
No idea what you're talking about.
He doesn't focus on the road either, chat.
No.
Do you want to tell them about your most exciting part of yesterday?
It looked like Mike Dean.
Fuck off.
It looked like Mike Dean.
We were driving up to Preston yesterday, chat, and then as we drove past some old Nissan Qashqai, he goes, "That's Mike Dean." I'm like, "No, it's not. This Mike Dean." I was like, "No, actually, it's not Mike Dean. No, it's definitely Mike Dean."
It looked like Mike Dean.
It did not look like Mike Dean.
It did look like Mike Dean.
It was like a bold bloke in a Nissan.
It definitely looked like Mike Dean.
It did not.
It definitely looked like Mike Dean.
Not.
See, this is what happens. Anyway, I spoke to some people about almost like a player of the week type thing. I think that you can't look any further than Caspiander.
I don't think, and for me, the semi-final as well, I think he's been, I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know he's put 20p in that dickhead, but Jesus Christ, he's been an animal. The way that he's just suddenly clicked into, I think we saw glimmers of this before as well, if I'm honest. And I said to you at the start of the season that I was probably most excited about Yander than anybody else. And there's just the way that he's reading the game at the moment and the way that he's breaking play up is unreal. I think he's different class at the moment. I think Yander has been the best player on the pitch for the past 3 games.
Can I just say something quickly?
Of course.
Ian, no one fucking saw you. All right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point, Gartsy. Actually, yeah, that's it, yeah.
I've got a lot more dirt on you than you've got on me.
I know, we were discussing that yesterday. That's the problem.
I don't think it's in question. I think players had a good performance yesterday. I think other players had a good performance against Ipswich. I just think Yander's been different gravy.
Look, I don't think anyone had a massively bad performance yesterday. I thought Ross Stewart he worked hard. I thought he linked play up well, but he didn't hold the ball up well. Archer tried hard, had a few moments. There was that chance where he beats one player, beats the second player, gets a rush of blood to the head and smacks it into Rosette. But
what I will say as well is I had for a little while been an advocate of Wellington over Manning. That's not my opinion anymore.
Not at the moment, no.
I think Manning came on yesterday and it just looked more solid at the back. I think he's playing some good football at the moment.
But there's a point, and the best part about it is when you listen to Tonda talk in the last sort of 24 hours, there's a lot of people that are saying, end of the season. There's people that are talking about player of the season now, which fucking baffles me because we do want the playoffs to go. Tonda is very much, job is not done. The job is not done.
Ian says, Yander's been your man since he signed. Told you.
He has, yeah.
Spotted it right at the start.
Can't argue with that, he has, yeah.
There's older episodes you'll be able to find me talking about him. So anyway, into the semi-final. So obviously we finished 4th. In the wider championship, Middlesbrough drew 2-2 with Wrexham. Wrexham missed out on playoffs. Hull won and go into playoffs. Ipswich won, got their automatic promotion at home. Finally, Ed Sheeran turned up again. Now they're back in the Premier League. Millwall win as well, which puts them 3rd. So means Mill will play Hull away to start with, and Saints will play Middlesbrough away to start with at the Riverside, which will be Saturday. I'm going to have a little moan about that in a minute. I don't know if you've noticed, chap, in a moany mood tonight. And then this
is time of the month.
We'll have the return Shark Week. Yeah, we'll have the return leg on Tuesday at St Mary's. By the way, you can already get your tickets if you're a season ticket holder for the return leg at St Mary's. You go into your ticket account, go into your reserved tickets, and you can buy them now. Just to let you know.
Got mine.
Yeah, I got mine, so I did it this morning. And Ash and I were talking about doing the away leg as well. However, that stopped for a number of reasons, and this is a little bit of a moan. I know it's done for a reason. I know it is. When you draw a fixture like Southampton away at Middlesbrough on a Saturday, surely you can move that from a 12:30 kickoff.
You can't.
That's mad.
You can't. Well,
because for us to get there, if it was possible to get a ticket, and like I said to you earlier, you need 96 away games in the last 3 weeks to be able to get a ticket, right? If it was possible for us to get there, we would have to get up at 3 a.m. to leave at 4 a.m. to be on the road up to Middlesbrough, right?
Yes.
That's insane. Now, also, Middlesbrough have given us the same allocation as Fratton Park's fucking capacity. We've got 2,000 people that can go, 2,100 and something, I think it is. They can go to the Riverside, right? Which isn't a lot. So the club have announced the ticket brackets. I think it starts at like 24 away games or something.
Yeah, Matt's just put there 26 plus.
26, okay. 26 away games in the 2024-25 or 25-26 season, right? I've got 9.
I got 2.
So it goes down like a bunch of brackets and then it stops after 18 plus away games, probably because they've realised that we'll have sold them all by then. So I was already messaging Ash this morning going, I'm not sure.
He was crying about it, guys. He's fucking
fucked.
moaning.
I was fucked this morning, and I was
You
already
didn't even drive.
I was already. No, I'm sick, you dickhead. and I was sat there this morning going, I really don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to Middlesbrough. I'm going to have to get childcare. The kids are going to have to go somewhere the night before. I don't know if I can. And you were like, you can just say you don't want to go, and I was like, but I kind of do want to go. And then I saw the ticket brackets and was like, well, I'm not going to get the chance to anyway.
So, just to put it out there, because you're a whiny little fuck, the reason why they can't move the reason that they can't move the kickoff is that firstly it's 12:30, so the latest they can put it for TV, because obviously all playoff games on the TV would then be the 5:30 kickoff, but the Sky cameras are obviously all going to be covering Premier League. They're not allowed to move it to 3 o'clock on a Saturday because they're not legally, you're not allowed to televise TV for football from 3 o'clock on a Saturday, so it was always going to be 12:30.
Do you reckon we could organise like a get together? Maybe we could go watch it in the Northern fucking fan zone.
I have to take the kids, but it's a possibility.
Nah, leave them home.
On their own?
Yeah.
Nah.
I've got a dog.
You can't call my wife that. We could organise something like that.
We'll have a think about it. Maybe we'll put it in Discord. Maybe we'll have a get together at like fucking the Northern fans and watch or something. I don't know.
If we do it, chat, who's up for it? If we do it. Who's up for it?
So yeah. So that's the home game on Saturday at the Riverside. The away game Saturday at the Riverside. Home game on Tuesday. We know Coventry won the league. We already knew the relegation zone as well. That was already done. And then no one cares about the rest. I think the Skates ended up finishing 18th, if I remember rightly.
I've got it here. Pompey finished 18th. West Brom finished. Leicester wouldn't have been relegated if they wouldn't have had their 6-point deduction.
Which is good. So this sounds awful to say this, right? But that's good, because that means the 6-point deduction was actually impactful, right? Because I'm always like, I always look at points deductions and I go, well, it doesn't matter because they would have gone down anyway. Or you've hit them with such a small points deduction, it just means they've changed 2 league places and they stay in the same league. This points deduction has actually done something significant.
However,
so it's quite a punishment.
They won at Blackburn yesterday in a dead rubber. So again, you say hindsight, obviously it depends, because you potentially would assume that game would have had nothing. They would have had something to play for, and obviously pressure does anything.
Yeah.
Pompey. So
we'll talk about points deductions. There's a more important one as well.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Nick is in chat. Spurs one, fuck them. Early season front runners. Obviously, Preston finished bottom half. Stoke finished bottom half. Watford finished in 16th and then sacked head still.
Yeah.
Standard.
Reasonable.
Genius. Bristol City finished 12th, which is about there. Birmingham, who everyone was tipping to get into the playoffs, were 10th. Norwich, who obviously, as we know, were absolutely miles off it, were in 9th. Derby lost at home to Sheffield United. If you see the first goal that they conceded to Sheffield United, absolute calamity. Wrexham pipped it. And the reason why I bring it up, and we will get on to Sheffield Wednesday in a minute, Nick, we'll get onto that. The goal that Ollie McBurney scores that puts Wrexham, that takes Wrexham out of the playoffs, was offside.
Was it?
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
Was offside.
I saw both Wrexham's goals, which were bangers.
The Josh Windass free kick was great. I can't remember who scored the second one. I want to say Sam Smith, but I can't remember. Look, there's a lot there, and obviously potentially we're going to be in the Championship next season, and this is why, and I keep saying it on the set, I fucking love the playoffs, because this is the last season, obviously, that we're going to have four teams in the playoffs. Next year it's going to be 6. It's 4 from 1. Who are you fucking picking?
You mean 1 from 4?
1 from 4. Sorry. Yeah.
Before we get to the playoff stuff, because we'll obviously preview it.
So, very quickly, because I said we mentioned it, Sheffield Wednesday.
That's what I was about to talk about. Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday.
Go for it.
So we all know Sheffield Wednesday suffered a pretty hefty points deduction this season, 15 points no less. Because
I think it was more than that, wasn't it?
Was it?
Nick, did you have more than? I don't know. Did you have more than 15? I thought it was more.
Well, ultimately,
18 points, I think.
No, because they finish on net zero, right?
Yeah, they won 2, they drew 12, so that's 18. So I'm pretty sure they had an 18-point deduction. They had 1 to 15-point deduction. I think I don't know. Nick, where are you?
It's a pointless season.
We don't know how many points you were deducted, mate.
But they also announced new ownership as well. So I was right.
Well, yeah, but that don't make any sense.
Get fucking out, dickhead.
They won 2 and they drew 12. That's 18 points, and they're on 0. So how is it only 15 points?
He said it's 15. So Shut you.
Someone's wrong.
Anyway,
Not me.
Net zero, and they announced new leadership as well, a new ownership.
Yes.
Which means that they are going to go into they went down. They are going to go into the next season with no points deductions.
Yes, and they did a little announcement before the game yesterday. It was really actually quite good to watch if you only watch on social media, Facebook, TikTok.
I don't think. I take the piss.
And then they won.
We take the piss all the time, right? We do, but honestly, I don't think anyone out there hates fucking Sheffield Wednesday apart from maybe Sheffield United. I think that's literally it.
Maybe every other club in Yorkshire, but yeah, okay.
So I don't like, and what they've gone through with their club and the way that it was being run to where it is now and what they've done to get there. I think most of us, honestly, will probably say we hope you come straight back up next season.
I think on that basis, every single football fan, including Sheffield United fans, look at those situations and it's never nice. Because even, I'm going to say it now, even when the Skates were going through their trouble, even us Saints fans were thinking, oh, it's getting a bit torrid now. Because they obviously went down and down and down. You think, ooh.
And you also look at it and you go, I don't want that club to not exist anymore because they're our rivals. Where's our rivalry go?
Yeah, so look, it's good to see it happen. Will they win the league next year?
No.
Look, we'll do a whole thing. We'll probably talk about them a bit because Nick is here. I still think Leicester are going to win League One, but that's a whole other thing. But then they could have a massive point deduction as well. We never know. But it was just good to see. They sold the stadium out. They won yesterday. They won their first home game of the season. Important to remember. They won one away game, which was, they beat the Skates at Fratton Park. That's it. So, Championship season's finished. Obviously, we go into the playoffs. There are a few other bits of football we'll cover in a minute before we go into the Liverpool preview.
Yeah, go on then.
So it's just something, obviously, as Saints fans, obviously we do like, and I'm not going to mention many people, but for those who don't know, Billy Sharp played his last game of football yesterday.
At 40 years old?
At 40 years old. He played for Doncaster away at Peterborough.
And?
Scored a hat-trick.
Did, yeah. Sign him up.
Yeah. And when you look at it, you think, crikey, he's put on a lot of weight.
Yeah.
He looks like me. What are you looking at my belly for?
No reason. It's getting bigger.
It is getting bigger. Oh, I had a great egg fried rice when I got home tonight. Oh, wife made it.
Anyway,
because I couldn't poo beforehand.
So we have got we are now going to the playoffs chat, right? Playoffs is next. We'll obviously be covering the playoffs as best we can. We'll cover the first game on Saturday. We'll cover the second game on Sunday. Sorry, we'll cover the second game next Sunday, and then hopefully we'll be covering the final shortly after. I've seen people looking at that final and hoping that the tickets aren't allocated the same way that we are for Middlesbrough. It won't be, because when we're going to Wembley, we won't have 2,000 tickets. We'll have 30,000 yet again.
If we go to Wembley.
If we go to Wembley. Sorry, thank you. If Ash doesn't like the certainty. However, we've got 4 teams in the playoffs. Millwall finished 3rd, Saints 4th, Middlesbrough in 5th, and Hull City in 6th. My opinion is, and maybe this is wrong of me here, my opinion is you can pretty much count Hull out. You can't count them out, it's the playoffs. But based on form towards the end of the season and how teams have been performing, I wouldn't suggest that Hull are favourites. I'd put them in as last favourites.
I would. So this is something I had a discussion of this in the Discord last night. Again, guys, get yourself in the Discord. It tells you right there. There's a lot of people that are going to be confident. Every single team that are in the playoffs with us now are the 3 teams this season that, well, not the 3 teams, but a couple of others, we've not beaten. We haven't beaten Millwall. We haven't beaten Hull. We haven't beaten Middlesbrough.
That makes me happy.
So, obviously, granted, in those situations, there's different situations. So, I've watched, I know you don't, and it's nothing against you. I have watched the playoffs year in, year out for the last 25 years. I fucking love them. Longer than that. They're brilliant. I've seen teams turn up against the odds. You talk about Hull. Could we discount Hull? Not really, because they got a win yesterday and they snuck into the playoffs and had a pitch invasion because they got into the playoffs and everyone was really happy. And then Millwall scored their first goal. I think it was Femi Aziz that scored yesterday for him. And the new den erupts and everyone's really, really happy. And then suddenly it's like, oh, well, Ipswich are winning. Oh, what's the fucking point? And so they're on a bit of a downward and Hull are on a bit of Hull. And suddenly Millwall have choked in the playoffs for the last few years, or not got into the playoffs, isn't it? And Hull have come into a bit of form and have been there and done it before. Middlesbrough have been second for the majority of the season and potentially are now facing us. No team can want to face us, but then we also know what we're like.
Yeah.
But we're going into it on a 19-game unbeaten streak in the league. So Middlesbrough are going to have to do something which the 19 teams before them haven't done. I think they might have been the last team to beat us, actually. But then the psychological edge could be Southampton fans might think, oh, fuck, they beat us last time. So we're not. It's amazing. And there's, like I said,
It literally is a mini cup competition.
it's 1 from 4. The important thing is, and do you know what? The first legs, it's very, very rare that the first legs are interesting. They're normally shit. It's frightened football. No one wants to give anything away. It's not going to be an expansive game. We'll watch the game on Saturday, probably together. It'll be very cagey, very sort of, oof. And if we come away with it with a 0-0 draw, I'll be happy. A lot of teams are happy to come away with it with a 1-0 loss. The important thing is to make sure, I always said it when we played the cup games against City and Arsenal, we need to make sure we're still in after 75 minutes. In these situations, you still need to be in the game. It's only when we finish the game, boom, half time.
So, what's your thoughts? If you had to pick 1 from 4, if I put you on the spot right now, pick 1 from 4, head and heart, what's your head saying?
Middlesbrough.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Did Wolves get relegated?
Yeah.
Be hilarious for Middlesbrough to go up, wouldn't it?
It would be quite funny. I think Middlesbrough still play very good football. The only thing is there's some points that they haven't got Hayden Hackney potentially will be back for some capacity for the playoffs. I think Middlesbrough will be quite disheartened to have been in this finishing 5th after they were 2nd for pretty much most of the season. I think Mill will be quite dejected. I think Hull will be on it. I think Hull are the ones that we've got to look at the moment and be like, they could potentially be a dark horse. But this is the point, right? We've got 4 teams in the playoffs. Any one of them could do it.
Yeah.
Realistically, if you're looking at it, if I put my neutral head on and you're looking at those playoff 4, and I don't know what the bookies say, I've seen so much, I don't know what the bookies say. But you put my neutral head on, you look at that and you go, Southampton are going to win the playoffs because they're the team that have had the most form. We've been to Wembley already this season. We've been on the biggest run. We've transformed more, etc., etc. But Millwall, tough to beat. Middlesbrough are tough to beat, but then have dropped points in stupid games. Not to mention yesterday against who were they playing yesterday? Against Wrexham yesterday. Middlesbrough weren't great. They weren't fantastic. They had the possession, but Wrexham had all the shots, and so they're clearly there to be got at.
Do you know his favourites?
Millwall, I'm going to guess.
No.
Us?
Mm-hmm.
Then Millwall?
Nope.
Middlesbrough?
Yep.
Then Millwall?
Yep.
Then Hull?
Yeah. So Sky Bet Championship, I've just got a random set of odds up here. I think it's from Paddy Power. Southampton 15-8. So not quite 2-1, but close. Middlesbrough then 2-1. So the difference between Middlesbrough and Southampton is minimal. Millwall's a 9-4, minimal again.
Yeah.
And then Hull is a 6-1 outsider. So Hull's not a bad bet because they're such a big outsider. But if you look at Southampton, Middlesbrough and Millwall in terms of odds, there is fuck all splitting them at the moment. There is nothing.
I
Nothing
don't want... I think it's very dangerous for Saints fans at the moment. There's a lot of people talking about when we get... I saw Cameron ask earlier. Congratulations, Cameron, on your promotion, by the way. I saw Cameron ask earlier, what kit do you want to wear in the final? Don't fucking talk like that.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
There's so many people that are like, oh, well, it's fine. Oh, yeah, I won't go to Wembley for the semi-final. I'll go to the playoff final. We might not fucking get there.
Yeah, well,
and that's a very real possibility.
Just look at those odds. The difference between Middlesbrough and Southampton, so they've got us as favourites, but the difference between us, Middlesbrough and Millwall is fuck all. It's not like there's a clear favourite this time round. I think it's 1 from 3. I do. I don't think it's 1 from 4. I don't think Hull will go up, but I think it's 1 from 3. But as I said before, and I said it already, it's a mini cup competition, and as with every cup competition, fucking anything could happen. Anything could happen. Anyone could win. So, go and enjoy it. If you get the chance to go to Middlesbrough, go up and enjoy it. And then all I can say is, for the return fixture on Tuesday, it's got to be like the Arsenal game. It's got to be like West Brom 2 years ago. It'll be fucking noise.
We need to come away from Middlesbrough, having not been battered. Finn Azaz needs to turn up against Middlesbrough for the first time. But we need to come away from there, still being in the tie, bring them down here, and just fucking go for it. Because at the end of the day, it's one of those, it's that old adage, isn't it? The entire season has led up to this.
Yeah.
And
So the final thing I'm going to say, because I'm not going to ask for predictions against Middlesbrough. I'm not going to ask for predictions all the way through the playoffs because I don't like tempting fate. But the final thing I'm going to say is we're in the playoffs. We have an opportunity to potentially go up if we continue the unbeaten run all the way through the playoffs and we win a couple of games. We're in the Premier League. Important question for everyone right now. Yourself first, obviously, but you guys as well in chat. Do you want to?
of course I do.
Do you though?
It's a head versus heart again, isn't it? For your head, of course you want to go into the Premier League because you want your team to be in the best league in the world. You want your team to be fighting at the top, and you want to keep hold of your best players. You want to be spending more money, be on TV, be in the national line more. Obviously, the heart part is it's been quite fun doing the away days, albeit not many. It's been quite fun going to every game thinking we could win or we could lose this. It's been quite fun not going to every single game against teams like Man City and thinking, well, we're just going to play 10 men behind the ball and maybe nick a point. But at the end of the day, regardless what it is, at the end of the day, why would you celebrate a goal? Why would you celebrate it? What's the point in winning?
Yeah, and this is. I really struggle with this question. I asked you because someone asked me, and I really struggle with this question. Right, really struggle with it because I'm the same. You want to see your team actually competing in the top league in the world against the best. If we were to go up and we were to be able to do a Sunderland, right, for sake of argument, I think most of us would definitely say yes, Premier League. That being said, I after the rocky start of the season, I've had so much fun going and watching Saints play this season, and I had season ticket the Premier League season as well. It was not as much fun.
Look,
I went to many away games in the Premier League season. It was not as much fun.
if you get promoted, you are guaranteed to be one of the 23 richest clubs in the country. And let's be honest, football teams need the money. It's about money, etc., etc.
No, I know, I get that, I do. But I like you said, I like going every week in, week out. See, if you said to me, you can go up and you can have a season like Sunderland have had, I'd bite your fucking hand off.
Or Leeds.
If you said to me, you can go up, but you'd have a season like you had last time, or you can stay in the Championship, right, well, fucking leave me in the Championship.
I think it's a conversation if we get there, but I think we are better suited than we were last time.
I think we're better
All I
suited
will say is, if we're not going to win the playoffs, I'd rather lose against Middlesbrough than lose in the fucking final, because that'll be vile.
Yeah, especially against Millwall.
If you were asking me now for a prediction, I think Hull beat Millwall over 2 legs.
If Millwall are in the final, we are in the final. We ain't taking your nipper. Not a fucking chance. Not a chance. Anyway, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's difficult. The other thing I will say about the Premier League, I've watched a bit more of it recently. I'm not going to get into this in detail now because we need to say goodnight. But fuck me, we need to get rid of VAR.
We're not going to get anything now. £60 million would be needed by Southampton if we don't go up automatically.
I know we're not going to get rid of it now, but we need to get rid of VAR. I know it's not going to go. This is why I'm not going to get into it. But we need to get VAR is ruining the fucking excitement and fun of football.
But if we had VAR, Wrexham are in the playoffs.
Are they? Are they? Because no, because what you're doing is you're saying if we had VAR for the last game of the season only, Wrexham are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There might have been other things all over.
Oh yeah, there's obviously that adage, but the problem is there's arguments for and against.
Yeah, absolutely right. Anyway,
fan funding.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I got to do. I was about to say goodbye, and I haven't read anything out from you lot. That'd have been awful, wouldn't it? Especially because Ian fucking dropped his yogurt again.
He dropped his yogurt again.
Well, let me do fan funding.
Have you got the right tablet?
I fixed it. Don't worry, I fixed it. I know what I'm doing. So we said thank you to Mossa for the $5 right at the start of the show. He said Liam's Lemsip fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt.
Garsty, our resident Wrexham fan, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. You're a legend. Don't be too disheartened. I honestly, genuinely believe, and I say this, I don't love the Disney hype, etc., but I'll say this from the bottom of my fucking heart. I think if you'd have gone up, it would have been too soon for you as a club, and it could have done some serious damage. I think next season you'll continue to be a strong contender for playoffs, if not top 2 spots.
Disagree.
Really? They're going to spend again?
I think the only way that they can... if they want to go further, they need to get rid of Phil Parkinson. That's my opinion.
Maybe.
But we're not getting into that now.
But they'll spend again. I think they'll have a solid season next season. So thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. You're a legend. Thank you for the $5 as well. Saints to win the playoffs and fuck Hull. Also, thanks Norwich. No wonder Ipswich are better than you. Thank you for the kind words and the optimism. I'm not going to be optimistic until we've fucking finished the game at Wembley.
If we get to Wembley.
If we get to Wembley, exactly that.
What's wrong with people?
Thank you, Ian, for the $10. Buy Liam some cider. I need it, yeah. Apples, isn't it? Good for you.
It's just... I had lettuce in my chicken royale
I
yesterday.
had a mango loco monster yesterday. It's good. It's mango.
You had 2.
Mango. I know. You need to keep me going.
You were literally like some... I don't know what's wrong with you. Literally on drugs. You were like up. You were fucking up and then down and then up and then down and then up and then down. It's like...
Got me through the day, didn't it?
You spent the entire first hour of the way home moaning about wanting chicken and then saying that you were happy to wait for chicken, but then you were happy when we finally got your chicken, and then when you ate chicken, we got back in the fucking car, all you started talking about was flipping Cadbury buttons.
I ate a lot of chicken.
And then you ate the cup, and then you ate the buttons, and you were like,
I regretted that.
Instantly regret this. And so I fucking told you that's what you said last time.
Nick, thank you for the $2. Liam's got a cold, kept that quiet. I know, I don't like to talk about it, ever. Thank you, Hayley, for the $5. What would have been better, 3rd playing Hull or what we have 4th playing Borough? My opinion, right. I think if we'd have played Hull and Mill would have played Borough, I think we'd have been playing Borough in the final. So I think either way we have to play Borough.
I think that...
And I do think Millwall will do Hull, and I do think, and my gut is telling me, and I shouldn't say this out loud because I'll jinx it. My gut is telling me it'll be a Saints Millwall final. That's my gut. That's what my gut's telling me it'll be.
Well, Friday night, guys. Friday night is Hull versus Millwall, so we'll see. Hull have been okay at home, and the problem is Hull just need to turn up for 90 minutes out of whatever. I think that we've got... I honestly think that even though Millwall finished 3rd, I think we've probably got the hardest playoff game.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
I think that the distance will have an issue with it. I think that...
So I think we do have the harder game, which is why I'd rather play over 2 legs than play it in the final.
If you'd have said to me 3 weeks ago you'd play Middlesbrough in the playoffs, but yeah, fine. But then Middlesbrough went and twatted Watford for 5, and okay, they weren't the best yesterday. But I then look at it and think it's a bit tough. At the same time, I know Middlesbrough have that rest as well. We've also got an extra day's rest, and we're not travelling to Middlesbrough on Friday night, so there's a bit of a difference. I think this year's Championship playoffs are very interesting compared to the last time we were in the playoffs, because last time it was us versus West Brom, which obviously was going to happen. It was Leeds versus Norwich, and both games, at the end of it, were foregone conclusions, let's be honest, and obviously it was the final that everyone expects it to be. But you cannot expect, well, not saying you expect it, people cannot sit there and go, it's definitely going to be those two, because... It's fucking hard.
Yeah. The
playoffs are so close, and anyone out of Derby probably maybe a left field shout, but Wrexham and Hull have now gone into the playoffs Hull obviously have gone into the playoffs now, having got a win. They've had their pitch invasion, the feeling's up, and now suddenly, they managed to avoid relegation on the last day of last season. They've now managed to get into the playoffs on the last day of last season. It's going to be like they're going to be an absolute flipping battle. That game on Friday night, the game for us is going to be like probably better watching paint dry because they're going to be so fucking terrified.
Yeah, we'll see.
And it's going to be Millwall versus Hull is going to be an absolute slugfest.
Well, hopefully they kick 7 shades of shit out of each other. So
But it's going to be a horrible game to watch. Horrible game to watch.
Then we say a massive thank you.
Look, Martin watched it. Ugly game to watch.
He hasn't watched it, has he? Because that happened.
No, he's right though. It's going to be an ugly game. Hi, Martin, by the way. Hey?
You just said he watched it.
No, I just said you said it.
You said he watched it.
You're not listening because you're ill.
No, you said he watched it.
Oh, fuck off. All right?
And then we say a massive thank you to Mr. Ian Clark for 20 gifted memberships.
Just think if someone else would have gifted like 10 more because I said 35.
Why did you say 35?
Because I upped it. If there was an extra 10 gifted memberships, I'd have been doing the intro next Sunday.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the 20 gifted in. I love you. Thank you, Star, for the $2. How long do I have left to order my away shirt? Depends on the size.
Yeah, if you're like already out of stock. If you're like a 5XL or an extra small, then you're fine. Other than that, mate, you're knackered.
I mean, Star's in America. There might be a 5XL by now.
Or you just order one from like, where is it, Japan or whatever, you'll be fine.
Ghastly, Millwall beat Hull, Saints beat Middlesbrough, Saints beat Millwall 2-0 in the final.
Could you imagine the chaos if we beat Millwall in the final, if we played Millwall at Wembley? Notice how I said if.
Well, there's a lot of people. We need to go. There's a lot of people that are saying that there's a conspiracy theory amongst people that the Football League are working hard to make sure Millwall don't get promoted because they don't want that trouble in the Premier League.
I'd fucking love it.
It'd be mad.
I'd love it.
Right, you wonderful people. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this fine Sunday evening. Hopefully you've enjoyed your weekly dose of Southampton Football Club.
They haven't. They ain't clicked like.
They haven't clicked like, have they? Only half of them have clicked like. That's my half of clicked like. Your half have gone, fuck it.
Well, maybe they're fed up of you
Look
whinging.
at the state of it.
Maybe they're whinging.
Why the hell has he still got a haircut like a pedo? Anyway, thank you. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you're not too nervous about the playoffs on Saturday. Ash and I will, if we are going to go do something in a public-y kind of space, like the Northern Fan Zone, we'll stick it in the Discord. So like he says repeatedly every week, if you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. If we go somewhere to have a beer and watch the football, you can come and talk to Ash, not me. I don't want to talk to you. And then on Tuesday, we'll be at St Mary's, obviously, for the home game against Middlesbrough. And then fingers crossed, after that we'll be talking about buying tickets. Fingers crossed, I'm not saying we're going to be, definitely, but fingers crossed we'll be talking about buying tickets to Wembley. If you've super chatted tonight, thank you so much. If you've gifted memberships, you're legends. If you've hit the like button, you're amazing. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for chatting, as always. The Football Podcast Show is only the Football Podcast Show when you lot turn up week in, week out for the whole season. So you're as important as we are. You're more important than he is. So thank you very much, you wonderful people. Before we go, though, Ash, is there anything you want to say?
Firstly, I want to say two things. One, it was definitely Mike Dean.
It wasn't Mike Dean.
Yeah, as mentioned, guys, get in the Discord. Obviously, if you have been gifted memberships tonight, make sure your Discord and your YouTube account is linked so you can get into the members section of Discord so we can leave all the peasants on their own because, peasants, didn't they?
Poor people.
Yeah, those peasants, they don't even shop at Morrison's. Come and find us on next Tuesday. Obviously, we'll be back next Sunday for another one. Hopefully, talking about a tie that we're still involved in.
See you next Tuesday.
You said that a lot to me yesterday. But no, yeah.
A rally cry, Ash?
Up the Saints.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.